Hey everybody, listen up. Today, Listen Up had the culinary pleasure of spending some time with Miss Dahlia at the fundraiser where she featured celebrity chef J.J. Johnson. And the chef is impeccable. You'll find that out later on because we had a couple of minutes to talk to him as well. But we just wanted to take a few moments to speak to Miss Dahlia herself and discuss the fundraiser. And we wanted to give you a shot of this beautiful space. This is where she does most of her fundraising for the cake business. This is where we had the actual tasting. And it's just a convivial, jovial, warm atmosphere. And we had a blast tonight. There were so many different people around the table. There were producers, there were writers, a lot of different people that came together for this worthy, worthy cause. And we're going to speak to her now. Listen up. This is Layla, and I have the ultimate pleasure of being with the proprietor of this impeccably beautiful space that we have had the pleasure of being in tonight. This is the boss. This is Miss Dahlia, this is Margot, this is everything. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for having us. So how did you birth this idea tonight for this tasting?
I guess I come from a large family. Every day at dinner was a party. You know, friends and family came through. We were making food and making family and fun. And we just, it's part of what we do, it's our culture. And I guess for me, I always felt like there's nothing better and stronger than bringing a group of people together, whether they have met before or not, and pulling them in. And that's really how Miss Dahlia's was conceptualized at, at a level, okay, here we have a cafe, but it's a community. And people ask, well, who is Miss Dahlia's? Well, Miss Dahlia's is you. Miss Dahlia's is you, the community, but, there's a backstory to Dahlia, which is about a mythical muse who was a Southern woman from the 1940s who came up from the South to the North and settled in Bedford-Stuyvesant and just, continued to invite people into her space and cooked for them and showed them an experience, and that food transcends just, nurturing your body, and also the idea that we're bringing whole foods into the community and something a little bit different than, your standard chain program, that we can show people that there are many ways to enjoy food that go beyond even just eating the food. It's a communal experience. And we would immediately get in touch with our customer base, know them when they come in. We know them by name. We introduce them to their neighbors. Yeah. They're like, did you know you live in a block with this young lady? Right. And they don't know that. And so when they come into Dahlia's, they begin to learn that. So this place that we're in is an extension, but it's also the prequel to Dahlia's. Okay. This is my design showroom that belongs to my brand, Cake Bliss.
So basically, this is a collective, what you are forming here.
This is a collective, and the brands that collect here, again, began with the Cake Bliss brand, but I also have a nonprofit organization called 96 Magnolia. Okay. Its purpose is to live well, live style, live green. It is to bring the focus and attention of health and wellness to underserved communities and to people who may not really consider themselves in a situation, which is my story. Who knew? My parents, we grew up in a very standard situation, and all of a sudden one day, my sister was diagnosed with breast cancer. She died at 30. She was a trained chef. She was amazing, funny. She was a lesbian, and we loved her and her craziness, and she made everything better. Wow. And when she was gone, it was like she brought the reality that, we're not invincible and things are going to happen. But my mother had been diagnosed with cancer. She, but who expected it? We didn't see the connections. So 96 Magnolia's purpose is to make sure people understand that you need to look at what's happening in your family. that there are connections,
Right.
and that there are genetic studies that we need to be aware of and informed about,
Know
and that
your
we need to
history.
know your history, know what your grandmother had,
Yes.
which you didn't really know was uterine cancer, but you thought it was something else,
Right, right, right.
and understand what your opportunities or disadvantages are. So that organization is tied in with the American Cancer Society in collaboration. The goal is not to reinvent the wheel. The goal is to amplify
Absolutely.
something that is already being done so that we can put the focus on, our communities and the needs of, our culture and what we do.
Yeah, and we need a sustainable presence. It reminds me of the story of Henrietta Lacks, who was the black woman where the term healer comes from. And that's what everyone knows. Healer is the strain of DNA that everything is cured from. HeLa is all over the world. It's tested cells, but no one ever knew that these cells originated from a black woman with uterine cancer. And all it tells you is that if you don't know, it will kill you, literally. So knowledge is power. And basically what you brought to Brooklyn and the world is powerful. It's really powerful.
We are on a mission. We are working on a project that has been in development for a number of years, and we're getting closer and closer. We have a project currently on the table to do a designer show house, which will bring designers in a cross-pollination of design disciplines. So you have fashion designers, interior designers, architects, interior architects. You have all kinds of, fashion, as I mentioned. And those things will combine to build out looks and rooms that talk about lifestyle, the new movement for green and sustainable lifestyle, LEED certified buildings. We're working with a development in Williamsburg called The Edge. They have committed to donate 10 luxury apartments that these designers will be able to change and design to create a whole energy and event that will bring attention to the cause and raise money, which we will donate to the American Cancer Society and earmark for programs that speak to our people.
Well, we are along for the ride. Count, listen up for every ribbon cutting. We are donating. We are giving our time because this is probably one of the most amazing nonprofit, grassroots, and beyond organizations that we've had the pleasure of talking to and being a guest of. And I just want to say thank you, really, because tonight was such an eclectic mix of people, but we got to talk, we got to eat, of course, which we love, Chef JJ, and we got to really see what you're doing in the community. And we're going to come back again and again and again until you get sick of us.
Oh my God, no, never, never, never.
Hey everybody, what's up? This is Layla with Listen Up, and I am here with the one and only chef, the season 1 winner of Rocco's Dinner Party, JJ Johnson. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Wonderful night. We did a wonderful dinner party.
Oh my God, amazing. Amazing dinner party. So how did you get hooked up with Miss Dahlias?
It was I went to like a backyard barbecue. Wound up walking down the street, smelling some jerk chicken. We kept walking. Next thing you know, I'm sitting outside with Margot, eating chicken and potato salad, and offering my services. I don't know how this occurred.
Oh my God, so it was clearly meant to be, obviously. So, our viewers are pretty interested in knowing about you. You are like, one of the cutest chefs to come along in a long time. Let's face it, most of them are, their strong suit is in the kitchen. And you're young, you're fun, you're funny. I mean, you're very arresting behind the camera. So I think I've read somewhere that your grandmother was basically a really good influence in the kitchen for you. Tell me a little about that.
As a kid, my grandparents watched me, and my parents went to work. It was a benefit. And she would make me get in the kitchen with her. But I loved it. It was like love at first sight. But when we sat down to eat dinner, I never wanted to eat the food. So butternut squash, red cabbage, beets. She would be holding my ear, force feeding me to eat these things, and I hate it. But today, I love to cook these things. I love to eat them. I love to cook them. So she was a major impact in my life at that time and that stage of cooking. And of course, I went through my errors with different people. But if I look back, my grandmother was a huge influence.
So is your grandmother still here with us?
My grandmother taught me how to cook. Passed away, I was like 8 years old. So I used to read her cookbooks to try to keep up. But she was Puerto Rican, so her cookbooks were in Spanish. So I would like to my mom, can you translate these? She would look at me like, come on, why you don't want to cook? And I'm like, Mom, I'm going to the CIA. I'm going to cook. And today I'm still cooking.
Okay, so you went to CIA, you got your bachelor's through CIA, and you came out and did what? You came out and said, I'm going to start a restaurant, or you came out and said, I'm going to start cooking for friends and see how it works? I mean, did you know you were destined for greatness with cooking?
I was destined with something. I know that I was destined that it would be easy to talk to ladies, knowing how to cook. But I came out, I worked for a chef. I was a position called a tournant. So you, before, you would do every station. And when you told me when you graduate from culinary school, don't take a line cook position. Take like a low-level sous chef position, because you're going to learn the same thing the line cooks learn, but you're going to get responsibility and it build up your resume. Okay. So I searched, and I found a restaurant called Jane Restaurant. Super busy place, was ranked number 4 in the city for brunch. And I just worked my way up the charts there. They opened up another restaurant. I became an executive sous chef. I was like 23 years old. I had no idea what I was doing, but still knew what I was doing. But I was there 6-7 days a week to make sure that I got the job done. And today I'm